There's something about Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, that I just have to get off my chest, because I'm just about to burst.
Canada be damned. I'm going to the Klondike.
The Klondike is Canada.
Giorgio, you be doing just fine, brother.
I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to 21st century biopics, I've grown tired of what seems like a steady stream of them. It's not so much the biopics themselves as it is the race to punch these out before the bodies of their subject has turned cold, and the only reason they seem to be made is that the person they're covering is world-renowned. Whereas in the 20th century, subjects of biopics were indeed world-renowned, but in many cases, like Selena and Basquiat, their lives were cut tragically short, and much of their rise to fame is unknown to the general public. Rob Cohen's 1993 Bruce Lee biopic, Dragon, the Bruce Lee Story, is very much in the latter category. It was made in the 90s, Lee was in his early 30s at the time of his death, and it was made 20 years after he passed, not 2. As a fan of movies in general, I have to admit that martial arts movies have never really been my forte, and I'm pretty ignorant to the genre.
Seen some of them chop socky flicks, man. Some cool shit.
Nevertheless, I've always enjoyed Dragon, not simply for the martial arts, although it's excellent for that, but for its storytelling. Dragon fills in much of the backstory of Bruce Lee leading up to his more well-known ventures in television and film. We get a brief glimpse of Bruce Lee's childhood, but the primary focus is on Lee's young adulthood, where Jason Scott Lee plays the title character.
This is your birth certificate. Bruce Lee. It sounded very American. It sure does.
We get a taste of Bruce Lee's martial arts capabilities, which leads Lee to leave Hong Kong due to his overzealous approach.
You have to leave Hong Kong. For how long? Forever.
Once in America, Lee carves out a new life for himself with academics, martial arts, and love with his soon-to-be wife Linda, played by Lauren Holly. Oh, and there's a reoccurring mystical demon which clearly puts the fiction in this heightened biopic. Yeah, that definitely didn't happen. Although racism in the decade of the civil rights movement shouldn't come as a surprise, it does come as a surprise just how prevalent it is throughout Dragon and Bruce Lee's story, and not merely a neatly summarized one-off to show racism simply exists, like some other biopics.
I don't think I could kiss somebody who wasn't white. I just don't think I could do that.
Bruce, we do things differently here. One of the things we do not do is teach our secrets to whites, blacks. They are the enemy.
Linda's American. I'm American.
You're an American citizen. You're not really an American.
Yeah, what is it? It's this guy Lee. You know, he's awfully Oriental.
Yeah, he's supposed to be Oriental.
Yeah.
He's playing Oriental.
No, I know.
Kato is Oriental.
I know. Can you just make sure he keeps the mask on?
Time's up. Come on, man.
I'm not finished yet.
There you are. See, we work out here every day at 3. You see the clock? It's 3. Come on.
What is it? See that new rule book?
See, now you've been reading the wrong rule books. You gotta read the ones in English.
What's that mean?
See, that's what I mean. You kind don't understand English.
They got such a good line of bullshit. Come and get it. America, the mountain of gold. It's for everybody. Yeah, it's for everybody white. But they don't tell you that. You gotta read the small print. If you can read.
The way in which Bruce Lee navigates his racial hardships in America is an important part of Bruce Lee's story. Dragon illustrates how Lee's early encounters with racism are dealt with in a similar, non-emotional approach to that of Kung Fu, and even goes as far as playfully acknowledging race without being racist.
I'd like to take some lessons.
I'd like to give them.
Solid. Now, you know I'm not Chinese.
I've noticed that.
This leads me to my favorite aspect of Dragon, and that is the progression. Jason Scott Lee does a superb job of showcasing his acting chops through the complexities of Bruce Lee's journey. In the early stages of Bruce Lee's story, we get a vibrant, eager immigrant ready to take on the world.
Sky's the limit, that's what they say.
Not a Chinaman's chance. They say that too?
Well, things are different now. It's today.
Sure, maybe.
I'm different.
Sure.
I am, you'll see.
And by the third act, we get a good sense of Jason Scott Lee's acting range as well as Bruce Lee's development and journey as a character.
When I was a kid, I had all these crazy ideas. I wanted to show the world the beauty of our culture. I wanted to give them a hero, but a Chinese hero.
You have. Don't you see that?
But the character development isn't the only thing I mean when I say progression. Although Dragon focuses on a decade of an already short life, the film is written, shot, and cut in such a way that it feels like a lifetime. That isn't to say it feels long, but rather whole or complete. And this is where I think the modern biopic gets it wrong. Unlike the modern biopic, Dragon keeps the runtime under 2 hours. The flow is linear and consistent, and scenes don't meander longer than they should only to fill a 2+ hour runtime capable of achieving an Oscar nomination. Dragon does use montages to artistically show the passage of time, but it doesn't glaze over large swaths of time to characters in aged makeup and wigs only to showcase the events we're familiar with. Admittedly, this is because Dragon is contained primarily to a single decade. But even when it can use this trick, it does so in such a subtle, seamless, and clever way so early in the film, it feels like an organic method of springboarding the audience into the real meat of the story we're familiar with.
Kung Fu!
Exactly. It's probably about the time I wrap this up. Perhaps you were expecting me to talk about martial arts, especially when talking about a biopic of the quintessential pioneer of Kung Fu on celluloid. But like I said before, martial arts isn't really my familiarity, and I'm sure someone else would be better suited to speak on that. Nevertheless, I thank you for staying with me this far into the video. Dragon wasn't tailored solely for the fans of Kung Fu films. I'm proof of that. And despite being a Bruce Lee biopic as opposed to a Bruce Lee Kung Fu film, Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, still kicks some major ass, in more ways than one.